up, guys? Two guys with game. I'm Alex,
I'm Keegan.
and we are reviewing the new Spider-Man No Way Home movie. And we are going to be having spoilers in this review, so if you do not want to get spoiled or know anything about that, I would click off of it. And if you do want to hear about it, or you already saw the movie, and I guess you're just looking forward to the review too, to see if you have the same opinions as us, you can, stay.
Yeah, just to make it clear, this is our opinion on what we thought about things that happened during the movie or about the movie in general. So, if you agree with us, then awesome. If you don't, then again, just remember it is our opinion.
Yep. And we're gonna start by, I guess we'll both give like, what would you rate this movie out of 10?
So, out of 10 Tom Holland suits, I said I'd give it a solid 8, 8.5 out of 10. Maybe even a 9, but
Yeah.
I can't give it a perfect score.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 9.
Yeah.
Like, cause this is pretty much Tom Holland's redemption movie.
This really is a Tom Holland redemption movie. I agree with you on that. So,
Mm.
why don't you start it off? Let's talk about the beginning of the movie.
Yep. So I feel like the first 30 minutes of the beginning of the movie were pretty boring, cause they're pretty much just giving a recap of the end credit scene we seen in the last movie with Mysterio, pretty much framing him and telling everybody that he's Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And it pretty much is going through, and everybody's freaking out, telling him that he's a villain, and everybody's following him everywhere, and pretty much that's just how it begins. Nothing really special in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I'd say the only really special thing in the beginning of the movie while the whole Mysterio thing's going on would have to be that Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Daredevil in the TV show, has made an appearance as Matt Murdock being Daredevil again, but now in the MCU movies.
Yep.
Other than that, it's pretty much just Spider-Man and his friends having to deal with everything that's going on after Mysterio wrecked his life and them trying to get into college and stuff.
Yep. So I think after that, I feel like one of the most exciting scenes that we see, like Peter Parker, MJ, and Ned then get into the MIT college, and then he goes to Doctor Strange, and makes Doctor Strange cast all these spells because he keeps on trying to rewrite it and add more people to know who he is and who he doesn't want to know and shit like that.
Right. Yeah, so basically he just wants people to forget who he is, but he wants certain people to remember, which ends up messing up that spell.
Yep.
So
And Doctor Strange's like, you're making me do the spell, but you haven't even contacted college admissions about why they didn't try to get him into college and his admission. So
yeah.
then he's chasing. Yeah, he's trying to find. Yo, I'll let you talk about it.
Oh no, if you wanted to keep going, you could. I wasn't cutting you off. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, and then he goes on the bridge. He calls Flash, makes a deal with Flash, saying that he'll be his friend, shit like that. And then Flash tells him that I don't know, I'm just call it the plug of the admission office was on the bridge, and Tom Holland's meeting her. And then an exciting scene happens. I don't know if you want to take it away from here.
Well, I also wanna add onto your thing. I'm not a big fan of Flash Thompson in the MCU. I don't think he's really much of a bully or a jock. But that phone call scene where he's like, I need to talk to the head of admissions. And he's like, I'll swing you to school for a week or whatever. That was pretty funny. Like, it was a funny scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I was there in the Flash's situation, yeah, I'd want you to be swinging me to school for, like, a month.
Yeah, this movie did have a lot of comical scenes.
Yeah, I will say this movie was funnier than any of the other, like, Tom Holland MCU movies. Like, I didn't find the other ones as funny as I found this one. Now, so, to leave where you left off, you said he's on the bridge, he's with the girl. Right after that, you see Doc Ock. Doc Ock's tentacles pop out from the bridge, and pretty much Doc Ock is starting to attack Peter. And they have a nice little fight, and that's when you find out that Doc Ock's like, you're not Peter, like you're not who I know. And then Goblin comes out of nowhere. Peter ends up hacking his suit, Doc Ock's tentacles, and he can now control him. And then they basically go back to Doctor Strange's place, and he explains that the multiverse is a thing, and that these are not Peter Parker. These are different Peter Parker's enemies, like the people who know Peter Parker from different universes.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
Doctor Strange, yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah.
so I was gonna say, then that's when Peter gets the black and gold suit that we saw in the trailer.
Yep, that's the same thing.
Which is just his black and red suit flipped inside out, which I thought the suit was lame. That was one thing I'm gonna say. I did not care for that suit. And that's when he meets. That's when he already met Lizard technically because Doctor Strange already caught Lizard, but that's when he meets Electro and Sandman. And if you can
Doctor Strange sent him on that freaking strange mission just to catch our body and do that.
So if you want to keep going with it, I will say before he continues with what's going on next, Sandman in this movie kind of triggered me a lot. Because Sandman was sand the entire movie. And if you remember from the Tobey Maguire movies, he could just turn into sand, but he was most likely in like a human, like skin form, not sand. In the entire movie, he was just sand.
Yeah.
So
and then after that, after he catches Sandman and stuff, they go back to Doctor Strange's, like, I guess it's a basement or some shit?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
His dungeon?
Yeah, dungeon. And then after that, Peter Parker, Doctor Strange shows Peter Parker the spells in his, like, box thing. And it's, like, pretty much trapped. And, like, there's a button to send them all back to, like, their own universe. And then Tom Holland finds out that they all die in their universe. So after that, him and Doctor Strange have a fight. And then Doctor Strange pulls them into the mirror dimension. And they have, like, a little cool fight between them two.
Yeah, nice fight between Spider-Man and then Doctor Strange, where pretty much like the mirror dimension is geometry for the most part, so he beats him with math. And then Peter's basically just at the point of where he's trying to cure all the villains, like fix them so they're not, I guess, bad guys anymore.
Yep.
But in doing so, the Green Goblin is the one that kind of messes it up, and I will have to say Willem Dafoe killed it as Green Goblin. So at this point, like, so when everything was going down with Mysterio, they ended up moving into Happy Hogan's apartment. So they're all fighting in the apartment complex, and Green Goblin was putting a smackdown on Peter. Like, straight up annihilating him. But yeah, so Green Goblin's the one that messes it up. At this point, this is when Green Goblin kills Aunt May. Which is a scene that me and Alex got very triggered by very quickly. Because they did fix Aunt May's MCU like part where she became the Aunt May we all know and love, which is the you need to help people type of Aunt May, like the helpful Aunt May. Where like the problem was they basically just kind of took it as there is no Uncle Ben for Peter. Because they gave,
Uncle Ben's pretty much Iron Man.
Yeah, Uncle Ben's pretty much his Iron Man, but like Aunt May gives the line, with great power comes great responsibility, which was a little triggering because, like, you know, as a comic book fan that we all know and love, and as we all love Spider-Man, that's just the line that I don't want to hear Aunt May say. Like, we don't need to see the Uncle Ben death again, I get it, but Aunt May could have even said, do you not remember what Uncle Ben said, like, told you?
Yep.
So, after that, Peter kind of goes on his own, and MJ and Ned are chilling at Ned's house, and Ned has Doctor Strange's sling ring, and Ned can use Doctor Strange magic apparently.
Yeah.
And he said he wanted to see Peter, and he ended up opening a portal. And when he says that, you see Spider-Man wave and run through the portal, and it is our good old happy boy Andrew Garfield.
Yep. Not only Spider-Man, but the best Spider-Man.
The best Spider-Man in my opinion, yes. So he pops through that portal. They have a nice little funny scene with them too. And then MJ is basically just like, oh, well, just do it again. We'll eventually get to him. And then you see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man just pop out. And you have a nice little scene between all of them. With Andrew and Tobey doing a nice little web off for a second.
Mm-hmm. That seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then from there, that's when you get to have all three Spider-Man meet each other. And how you get to see that Tom Holland is rage-induced by the death of Aunt May. So he's like wanted to talk about killing people and stuff. And how the other Spider-Man can kind of relate to him because they've lost and been in the same position as themselves before.
Yeah, I like how they all had like the big brother effect, and you know, Toby was like the oldest brother and things like that.
Yeah, but from there, this is kind of when we're in definitely our final sequence. They all want to cure the villains, so they all work on the villains that they know for sure, like who's they can fix. Like Tom Holland's like, I can fix Electro, and whose cures did he do? He did Electro and Goblins.
Yeah. No. Toby did.
Yeah, Toby did
Goblins.
Toby did Goblins. Andrew did the Lizards, and he did Sandman and and Electros. So this is when we're in our final scene, and I have to say the chemistry between all three Spider-Men was very good. I enjoyed it.
Like the swinging sequence they had when they were all swinging together, like they all were like kind of like bouncing off each other. It looked like, I think.
Oh, so at first when they first try to fight the villains, they're all messed up because they don't know how to work in teams, and there's a lot of funny scenes between them three. But once they figure out how to work together, that's when you get a really nice scene of them all swinging together and like working together as a team.
Yeah, because Tom Holland mentioned that he was with the Avengers and he worked with a team, and you know, as Spider-Man, you know, he works by himself. So you know, Toby's and Andrew Garfield was like, whoa, we don't even know who the Avengers are. We pretty much just work by ourselves.
Yeah, they don't have people like that. But it's a very nice like nostalgia feel of just seeing all the not all the Spider-Man, but just seeing the Spider-Man you grew up with or you know, with the new guy, and it's a very nice moment for the entire thing. But you know, so they have this fight, and if you want to take it from here, basically they're curing all the villains, and then what happens next, Alex?
They curing all the villains, and then Green Goblin's the last one to appear. And then Peter's like, well, you know, Tom Holland, since all Peter, he's like induced with this rage, and him and Green Goblin's having like their final little face off, and Tom Holland beats Green Goblin this time. And then he's like about to take his, what do they call it?
The glider?
What's he glide on? Like, yeah, the glider. Well, I didn't know the exact name, so yeah, the glider. And he's about to take it and like, you know, stab Green Goblin with it. And you know, Toby, the oldest brother, he comes and stops him, and then Green Goblin stabs him. I was like, wait a second, no way he dies, right?
Yeah, I really thought they were about to kill Toby, and I was very upset. That had to be the funniest part though, because then they cure Goblin, and Toby's on the ground, and Andrew goes up to him, and he's like, "Hey, you okay?" And Toby goes, "Yeah, I've been stabbed before."
Yeah,
and
I think another hilarious scene was when, you know, Andrew's cracking Toby's back.
Oh, dude, that was a good part. Yeah, because Toby's like leaning on the rail trying to crack his back, and he's like, and Andrew's like, "You good or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just have this like middle back thing, like my back hurts or whatever." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got like a mid back thing too. It's all that swinging, you know." And he goes, "You want me to crack your back for you?" And he cracks his back. He literally picks him up and cracks his back. The other funny one is when they were talking about working for a team. Andrew goes, "I love y'all. Like, I love both of you guys." And they both just kind of look at him and go, "Yeah, thanks. Like, thank you." The other funny scene that me and Alex been talking about, like, a lot since we watched the movie, was because Toby's web shooters are organic. They come out of his body, like his wrist and stuff. They both have, and Andrew and Tom both have, like, the web shooters they made. They're both like, where does this stuff come from? Like, does it come out of other places?
Yeah, dude, that shit was so funny.
And Toby's just like, oh, not that I know of. Nope, just my wrist, just my wrist. But no, it was nice to hear about them talking about their own universes and stuff. And you can tell they both love, like Toby and Andrew, they both love the fact that they got to return as Spider-Man, because that was big roles for them. You could tell they still have like a huge love for that movie or that franchise. But from there, from the end of the movie, Alex, why don't you give us what was really a huge redemption arc?
Yep. So, as the end is happening, the multiverse is collapsing, and Tom Holland asks Doctor Strange to let everyone forget who Peter Parker is, so he can pretty much fix everything that's going on and send everybody back to their own world. So he does that, and pretty much everybody forgets who he is. He goes back to the donut shop that MJ works at. He has his little speech that he's about to tell her, and then he realizes it's better off for them just not to be like involved with him anymore. So he goes and he gets his own apartment. Now he lives by himself. Even Happy at Emmy's like little tombstone, forgot about him.
Yeah.
So he's in his apartment, and he's like, and they show like a new leaf that Peter Parker finally makes his own suit.
Yes, the one thing we've all been waiting for, Tom Holland to stop getting suits from every other person ever known. He finally makes his own suit, and it looks very comic book. You don't really get to see a full glimpse of the costume, but you can tell it is a very comic book accurate, like red and blue, and it's very glossy to kind of make it pop, and it's a nice suit.
And they gave a really nice swing too.
Yeah, like his swinging looks way better, because that was also a problem, and it didn't look very CGI, which was a huge thing for me because I don't like that his suits are very CGI. So the other thing was, we're now gonna get into the post-credit spoilers.
We're gonna talk about the first one.
So why don't you give the idea of the first one, and I can explain what's kind of going on, because I know you were super excited for this.
Yeah, I was calling it, dude. I just hope everything falls into place.
You definitely called it, because we've been saying he was probably gonna pop up in the movie, but you called it as an after credits.
So like in the end of the Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage, it shows that Doctor Strange's spell is going on, and Venom got transported to this hotel, and he sees Spider-Man on screen. He's like, "Whoa!" Venom's like, "Ooh, well, he looks tasty or something."
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end credit of No Way Home, Venom's finding out everybody like the Avengers. He talked about Iron Man. Then he talked about Hulk.
And
he's like, "Dang!" And Thanos, yeah. And he finally was like, "Damn, maybe we have to go to New York and meet this Spider-Man." And then Doctor Strange spell is going on, and then he kind of goes back to his own universe, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he leaves like his little symbiote, like one of his like symbiote things, like sticks on the table. At this little bar he's at.
Yeah. So basically, Venom's in this bar, and when he's getting transported, Venom, like Eddie's like, "Whoa, like what's going on?" And Venom's like, "Holy crap!" And a piece of the symbiote falls on the table. So now implying that Venom is in the MCU, but it's not gonna be Tom Hardy's Venom, I don't think. We don't know for sure though, because it could just be the giant big Venom we get from the movies, but they might make him look different. Um, so yeah, now Venom's in the MCU. There's not much we can say about it other than the fact that he's there. We don't know who's going to be. I have an idea that it's going to be Flash Thompson, but that would mean we get Agent Venom, and I would rather have regular Venom at first. But after that, if you wait a little bit longer, you get to see the first teaser trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which looks fantastic. Mordor, I think Mordor is his name, or Modo, whatever his name is, the wizard from the first movie. He's back with a new hairstyle. Wanda's in the movie. Schumer Gorath is in the movie. And Defender Strange, which is like Evil Strange, it looks like. And it's gonna be a wild movie. It's the first Marvel horror movie directed by Sam Raimi, the guy who directed the first 3 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And this one's gonna be pretty nuts. Like,
Assault in progress.
like Alex had no idea what was going on,
You wanna fight?
but
It's your lucky day.
he thought it looked great just from the little teaser they had. So that's pretty.
One big thing we forgot too. We feel like from this movie they're implying that we might get a Miles Morales soon after maybe Tom Holland's next trilogy.
Yeah, because
For how much he's been crying about he don't want to be Spider-Man no more.
yeah, because he's been doing a lot of interviews saying he doesn't want to act that much anymore, or he doesn't want to be Spider-Man past 30. But there was a joke in the movie where Jamie Foxx as Electro, him and Andrew were having a nice little sentimental moment, and he said, "I just thought you were gonna be a black guy," and Andrew's like, "Oh, my bad." And he goes, "Nah, I think there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere," which is kind of implying that Miles is either going to come soon or they're definitely just making a reference to Miles. Now, the original plan from what I heard is that Tom Holland's supposed to have technically 2 more trilogies, because he just had his trilogy of Spider-Man. Now this next one would be him as college Peter Parker, and then he would have adult Peter Parker. Or this is just going to be straight up adult Peter Parker. Either or. Which, if this is adult Peter Parker, I would think Miles Morales will be in the MCU next trilogy. If not, he'll be in by the 3rd trilogy. It just depends on what Marvel decides to do. But I will say this movie's not a perfect 10 for me personally. A lot of people are saying it's a perfect movie. I had some problems with it, but overall, I would have to say this is probably the best Spider-Man movie. It gives us the redemption, and it gives me the feeling, because I have a huge problem with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but they fixed everything I hated about him in this one movie, and now I'm starting to really just enjoy and like him. So I'm happy for what direction he's about to head into, and I can finally just say that he's probably going to have great movies after this. So they really outdone themselves in this movie, and I was glad we saw it opening night, because if I would have caught one of those spoilers, I would have been very upset. So that's why we're making this a spoiler review video. So if you wanted to hear the spoilers, it's on your own.
Yep, it's all up to you now.
Yep. But you have any other like closing remarks before we end this video?
I guess the only thing is that I guess we can finally look forward to the new Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, new Spider-Man, new suit.
Like, we don't know who's gonna be the new villains or what they plan on doing with this new arc in his life. So.
Right. Well, I guess that's all from me and Alex for today. We'll try to get another movie in sooner or later so we can review that. But we'll catch you later.
Yep, catch you later.
Peace out.
Peace out.